The background for this video is that I serviced an ETA caliber 2472, and as I assembled the automatic device to the movement, I noticed that the oscillating weight touched just barely the setting lever screw. It didn't stop the oscillating weight from rotating. It didn't hinder it in any way as far as I could see, but it made a scratching sound, a slightly scratching sound, and that is definitely something you wish to avoid. So I did some research and found ETA's technical communication for this caliber, the caliber 2472, and in those instructions they mentioned that what you could do to reduce end shake would be to remove some material from this cone inside the spindle, the thrust point of the screw, attaching the oscillating weight to the automatic device framework. And the way to do this was to use what ETA refers to as a 60 degrees milling cutter. And so I got this tool on Amazon. I hope you can see what it looks like. I don't know how close I can get, or if you get focus here. I hope so. So what you do is you simply take the tip of the tool, place it in the center of the cone. Of course, you try to hold this tool as perpendicular as possible. Don't know how well that is. Anyway, I've already done this, but anyway, I'm just demonstrating now. And then you rotate the tool inside the cone, and thereby you remove some of the material inside the cone. And this tool worked extremely well. Unfortunately, it worked too well. It worked so well that I, by accident, removed too much material. And the effect was that when I attached the oscillating weight to the automatic device framework, the screw actually locked the oscillating weight to the automatic device. And so that was not a very happy moment, but those things unfortunately happen sometime in this trade. Anyway, so I thought, so what can I do now? Well, I can increase the end shake, but the instruction that ETA gives for this, I actually can't understand. But then I remembered that one of the very friendly members of watchrepairtalk.com, a member calling himself Anil, suggested that I could actually replace this entire bearing in the center of the oscillating weight. So I thought to myself, well, how hard can it be? Well, it can probably be pretty hard, especially if you're not used to improvising, and that's definitely not my strong suit. I find it very difficult to improvise, but the really good watch repairers, they improvise all the time and find solutions. So I gave myself the challenge to try to find a way to remove the bearing, and this is what I came up with. I'll show it to you next. Before I continue, I should mention that finding spare parts for these old ETA movements sometimes can be pretty difficult. If you go to, in my opinion, the best site for finding spare parts, cousinsuk.com, you'll often see that many of the spare parts for these old ETA movements and even the new ETA movements are obsolete for various reasons. But in this case, I actually saw that they have this bearing available for about 11 or 12 pounds. So my method for removing this one was to take my staking block like this, and a paper clip like this, and then I place the I need some finger cuts now, so please bear with me. So I place this one here to support the oscillating weight, the underside of the oscillating weight. So I'll turn it around so that you can see what's happening, what's going on, so that you get some support like so. And then the idea is to tap out the bearing from the other side. So let's go again. Should be there. Okay, so what to tap it out with? Well, I found an old hand setting tool, which has a without a hole, and I simply place it in the center of the bearing and hold everything in place like that, and trying of course to hold this hand setting tool as perpendicular as I possibly can, pressing down, and then use my hammer and tap on the other side of the hand setting tool. So we'll give it a try now. And there we go. So the bearing is out. And here we have the bearing, like that. So the next step then is of course to order the replacement bearing, and once I get that one, it will be time to replace it, of course. So that's what I will show you next. Of course, using the same bearing because I haven't received the replacement yet. So I would assume that the best tool for pressing in the new bearing into the oscillating weight probably would be a staking set. However, I do not yet have a staking set. However, I do have a jeweling tool, and I thought maybe I can use that in one or another way. And I found this piece. I can't quite remember now what it's called, but it's in the set of pushers and pump pushers and anvils and whatnot. Anything I don't remember what all the parts are called really, but this is the one I found, and I noticed that one end of this end actually fitted in the bearing like it was perfectly, like it was made for the job. And so I thought to myself, I wonder if this part actually will go into the jeweling tool. So it didn't actually, and not the way you're supposed to do it anyway, but I noticed that I could do it. Just move this away a bit, and so I simply, let's see now. So I was able to push it in here, although I was a bit worried that it would get stuck, and it actually did get stuck when I tried this the first time, but it can be removed with a bit of force, so I don't think there's nothing much to worry about. So there we go. Don't know how well you can see that, but I'll show you what I did next, or what I will do next. So the next step then will be to place the oscillating weight. Just put on my finger cuts again, like this. So I place it here, and I take the bearing and place it here. Now I need to get this, I think that is actually pretty good. Okay. And then I hope you can see this now. Push down the handle here. Not sure how well that worked. I'll take a look. Well, it didn't go all the way, so I have to push a little more. Well, I don't want to push too hard, of course. Okay, a little more. There it is. And the new bearing is in. Not sure how well you can see that, but when I look at it, it looks like it could really work. And I can see absolutely no damage to the parts. So I think this method is perfectly right. It remains to be seen though, once I get the replacement and do this for real. Okay, so I hope you found this little video useful. I've spent a lot of time figuring out what to do and how to do it, and I felt it would be valuable to share my experience. I will, in the description of this video, I'll include a link to watchrepairtalk.com, actually to the thread where we discuss this, so you can read about more in detail, where I also have some illustrations of the tools, of the oscillating weight, etc., and ETA's own instructions. And I'll also include a link to cousinsuk.com, where you really can find, they have, I think, like hundreds of thousands of spare parts for all sorts of movements. However, ETA movement spare parts are sometimes difficult to get by. Okay, thanks for watching.